there guys, this is Malorian, and this will be a video talking about my final thoughts on the Steamroller I went to there in this Century box on March 26, 2016. And yeah, I mean, this is kind of a regular Steamroller, but they also allowed the ADR rules from the Master package, so it was a little bit different from what we normally see. And I decided to go there and try out some different stuff, and so this will be kind of my thoughts on how I did, those new units, ADRs, stuff like that. So for those who don't remember, my lists were, first of all, with Texas, a list that was designed to be a little bit more shooty and testing out some things like the idea of taking cutthroats and TKing around a target so I get 4d6 damage against the rear against it, between poison and also backstrike, or backstab rather. Also trying out Mobius with the bloat thralls. But what the regular list was Thexus with a Wrecker and a Warden, double Mind Benders, min Mind Slavers, then there was an Overlord unit, there was 2 Agitators, Mobius, and the 2 Bloat Thralls. And of course, yeah, the Cutthroat's a Dominator. And then the ADR, I decided to take the Nis Hunters, the Forge Guard, and another Agitator, a third one. And now, first of all, for that one, let's talk about this list right away. For the ADR options, one of the ones I never took was the Forge Guard. I think it was a good idea to have them in ADR, but it just never really came up where I thought they were the right option, especially because, man, the thing is, like, there's a lot of stuff that already hits pretty hard in the faction there, and what I have, and with all the Mind Benders and the Slavers, so I didn't really feel they're ever right. It was better to take a shooting option. I do like people to go from Cutthroats to Nis Hunters really quick, so maybe next time, instead of taking them, I put in another Wrecker or something, so I can swap out a Warden to put in, to be double Wreckers then, basically. So there's one option. The idea of the Cutthroats TKing things around and doing that stuff, I think it still has some merit. I think I need to play it more. I only did it once and I kind of messed it up myself, but yeah, I really feel like it can be a real threat, but you gotta play it very carefully. So I think in general it might be better to go with the Nis Hunters because they're very simple. Hey, look, I'm awesome. I got a long range. Pew pew pew. And you know, hey, even though I might be good at assassinating things with them, the Cutthroats with 46 damage. You know what? If I'm shooting all these Nis Hunters into the rear of a caster because I've turned it around, I'm probably gonna kill it as well. It depends on the caster and all that stuff there. But yeah, it's, I don't know, I kind of disenfranchised with it, or disenchanted, that's the right word for it, but it's something I want to try a little bit more. I don't know if I'm going to try it right away. I think I'm still waiting for a monstrosity with a good gun to come along, but there's that list. Now, in the second one here, I took Fiona, and I want to try out some of these River Raiders. I want to try her with Buccaneers. I painted up the deck gun so it could be cultists and give her an extra focus. And what that list there was Fiona with 8 Buccaneers, double Max Pressgangers. I have the Max Kayazi Assassins with Underboss, and then 3 units of the River Raiders, which really turns out to be just 9 River Raider solos. And then I have the deck gun and also Hawk. And then in my ADR, I had the Galleon to come into there, and I also had Orin Midwinter. Now, I guess the first part of this, talking about Fiona with the Buccaneers, it actually didn't work out too bad. You know, having all those Buccaneers and running up, one of the negative things I did find was the idea that Fiona has a bunch of cool spells, and if she's using all 8 of them to go and run up all these Buccaneers, I'm really getting those spells out there a little bit late. It's not devastatingly late, but it is something that I was a little bit surprised by, because normally, of course, first turn it's like, wow, let's get out all these awesome spells, but because you're needing to run all those Buccaneers, it's a real issue. When I did do the ADR to bring in the Galleon, of course that wasn't an issue anymore, so I actually kind of really liked having that. It almost then brings it back to a regular list for Fiona, where she has all those things there, you know, with the Kayazi and Pressgangers and the Galleon, because then the feat for -1 dice to hit and for damage, it works great for all those things. So it almost feels like I'm falling back to regular stuff, but hey, even in that one there, I still have 2 Buccaneers, so Buccaneers with Fiona doesn't seem bad, but I really feel it'd be better, especially if I was not going with the River Raiders so that I could be, highborn, get Anastasia, make sure I get that +1 to go first to really get up the board. That being said, I was actually very impressed with the River Raiders. So many people out there just think they're garbage, but they're actually not bad. Now, you have to keep in mind what they are. They're a 6-point unit that you just throw away. You're taking them to die. 6 points for 9 models who have advanced deploy, who have defense 14, and sometimes can do a little bit of silly stuff with their guns, pulling themselves to even more annoying spots where you shoot somebody and like go behind them. So they're actually pretty interesting. And then of course if you have Hawk in there, they're crappy weapons turned to weapon masters. They actually can do some work. So especially with the jam, like I think if I had 6 points, and I had to choose to go either Press Gangers or I had to go River Raiders, I'm going to go Press Gangers. The River Raiders do also have the advantage that since they're all solos, it makes order of activation so simple and easy. That's something you can't really ignore. That's a very big factor with them. But if you are at double Press Gangers and you're looking for just a little bit more, man, those River Raiders, you don't have to even add in all 9 of them. Just adding a few in there can be great for us plugging in those extra few holes and again, making those activations very simple. Plus, I mean, when it comes to flags and scoring and stuff, they're a perfect, easy throwaway model to run to that flag and die, but score you that control point. So they were amazing. Now, let's talk about something that wasn't amazing, which was the Bloat Thralls and Mobius. I am sure, again, that, you know, when you think about them as they are, where you have all these 5-inch AoEs with, you know, corrosion and stuff, that sounds amazing and it kills infantry super bad. Here's the problem. Let's talk about the meta problem first. A lot of the infantry you're seeing out there are Croak Raiders, which are immune to corrosion. Also, we're seeing lots of Trolls who have the stone, who can say no continuous effects, and you also are getting that from the Menoth in their book as well. They're not as popular right now, but it definitely is something. I mean, purification and stuff takes the stuff away. I mean, again, I guess that could be a little bit late, but it's just not really there. Now, also in the list, you are having it, so this is in Cephalix, where you have Overlords and sprays for days for Mindbenders and all these other things. And killing infantry really isn't a problem. Killing heavy infantry, that might be more of a problem. Say if you have shield wall pikemen or something like that, who are also with Defender's Ward or whoever knows what, so they have really high armor. Sure, yeah, you know, hitting them with corrosion would be really nice, but I feel going with Mobius and the Bloat Thralls are just too far. I think if you want to go with them, just take the one Mobius, that's it. Just Mobius, 3 points. It's a little tool that you have. You still have all the other things, but you now have Mobius as well. If you really want to, take one more Bloat Thrall just to kind of work that a little bit more. But even that, I think, is maybe going too far. Going to 2 Bloat Thralls, that's just far gone. Now, keep in mind that Cephalix may grow, and maybe you'll be starting to take different options that aren't the Mindbenders and stuff like that. So if those sprays start going away, okay, these Bloat Thralls might be a great ranged option to have in there. Or if you're going 100% ranged and, you know, we get another ranged caster or ranged monstrosities and you're going all in pew pew pew, well, of course, it's almost like the River Raiders. They're not your number 1, but when you have the number 1, they might be your number 2 that goes on after that. So, as it stands, I'm not super keen on them. Plus, they force you at a tier. I really, really like the tier there. And so, you know, I might try them with something else, like with Thexus or something, or with Siphon rather. But, yeah, they really kind of didn't show their worth. One of the coolest things they did during this tournament is actually just die, where I kind of just like ran one up, a lot of guys charged it, and then it exploded and killed them. Now, it's kind of a silly thing. If you're going to do that, then just take a regular Bloat Thrall, don't take Mobius, save yourself a point, and that's one of those things that's not going to really work that well for that long. I suppose in that one list where you are going pew 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 for days and you are having the guys come in, then yeah, throw up those Bloat Thralls, and if they want to get past them, they'll start exploding and stuff. But yeah, man, it's just, don't expect to be seeing them a lot. I'm sure I'm going to be throwing them in now and then for fun, But I gotta tell you, out of all of this, they were the disappointment. And that's the funny thing. If you go on the internet, Mobius and Bolt Thralls, amazing! River Raiders, garbage! And yet my experience is that Mobius and the Bolt Thralls were a huge letdown, and the River Raiders were amazing. I love them. So there you go with that. So talking about my list and the choices I took, the new things I wanted to test. I guess the only other thing I didn't really mention was the deck gun. That's one I've been theorizing for a while. Other people have used it, so it's not like it's new tech or anything. But just the idea that it's basically a squire with a gun. It's 2 points. It follows Fiona around and says, here's another focus, here's another focus, and Fiona loves it. I never did end up shooting it because I didn't want to scatter and kill my own infantry, but hey, sometime it might come up, and if it doesn't, it's still just a 2-point thing that's giving you a focus like a squire. So I really love that, and I believe in a lot of my Fiona builds now, that's going to be an auto-include. I really do love it. Now, as far as how I did way better than I thought. I ended up going 3-1, although to be fair, I played against some new players and stuff like that, but yeah, I really thought I was going like maybe 2-2 or 1-3, but yeah, I went 3-1, so that was fantastic. Got a few more points, went a little bit higher in the standings. Not anything like drastic or anything like that, but yeah, it was pretty nice. So that was pretty good. The tournament, I mean, it was well organized. It was a great run event. But one thing to talk about is the ADR. So when I was first looking at the idea of ADR, there were 2 problems I thought I was going to have with it. One, I thought it would add a lot of time because as people go in and they have to kind of like pick their cards and stuff, I thought that's going to be adding like a good 5 minutes to every game and having to switch things out and all that. And the second thing I didn't like about it was the idea about some things just being too powerful, especially now where it's not the most unpopular casters that are being taken, but like those tier 2 casters, it seems like it's a bit much. Now, the first part with that, the time-wise. The time went very fast. In all my games, there was some sort of ADR switching happening, and it was all fast. Either it was like one side did it and the other side didn't, and so it's like, yeah, I'm switching this. All right, let's go. And it added on seconds. That's it. In other ones, we both were swapping things. It was like, okay, here's my cards. Oh, you got your cards? Okay, yeah, let's go. And again, now we're talking about 10 seconds of being added rather than 2 seconds. So it was very minor. So yeah, that worry about it as a TO more, I guess, than anything else, that was a non-factor. Now, the idea, though, of making powerful things even more powerful, that definitely was a very big deal. Let's say, for example, in that Fiona list, the ability just to say, you know what, whenever I want, I'm going to add a Colossal. And I mean, this is not just for Mercs, this could also be for, you know, for Retribution, especially for Signar, be able to say like, hey, I'm going to add in a Storm Wall, or I'm going to add in 2 Storm Walls. That is a huge game changer, and being able to do that on the fly is massive. Another one is things for assassination artists, guys like Kane 2, and more so than anyone else, Lilith 2. Oh my god, Lilith 2 was everywhere, and being able to say like, okay, for this one here, I need these tools to go for this assassination, makes Lilith 2, who is already a very good caster. I mean, I think there's already an argument there for where, you know, in this one, it seems like they're taking out the best of the faction and going with like the next step down, that she should have been in that top tier that was peeled away. And so now that she has this and the ability to switch things in, like, hey, some say I have a Blightbringer, I can go either way, or I can be changing Zerial for a Ravagore, or whatever, it is a really big deal and lets her handle even more things and be able to assassinate even more things by putting in whatever she needs. Like, oh, I need a Naga, or I don't need a Naga? Okay, let's put in another Bolt Thrower, or something like that. It is really good. So that part of it, I am not happy with that ADR. I really wish they go back to the old ADR where they made it so that, hey, the 4 least popular over the last period, they're the ones who are going to be in there now. It not only makes it so that more casters are seen, but it also gives them a little bit of a leg up. I'm not going to go in and say that they are worse than other ones that are taken, but hey, you know, if people aren't taking them because they're perceived as being bad, it'll make them being used more. People can invent and find out and discover new combos, and all of a sudden these casters that nobody was looking at get new energy into them, and you start seeing them a lot more. And it helps us balancing things as in a tournament wise as well, right? Where you can have two people who are equal skill players. And I feel that if you have someone that went in and made their best list that, or pairing rather, that wasn't ADR, and another equal skill player, this is more at the top level, went and made it with ADR, the person who went with ADR would win. That's, I think now, a clear advantage over the other. And that's not the way it should be. I don't really like that. So either way, you know, it was something different. It was something new. I mean, nothing against the tournament organizers. I love doing stuff that's fresh and different. I just would caution any TO that's like, let's add ADR to everything. No, I don't think that's a good idea whatsoever. Bring it in now and then, but that's really it. So otherwise, there's my summary of the tournament. I got to try out a bunch of new things, got to play against a bunch of players I never played against before, and did well and learned some things too. So hopefully you guys liked watching it. If you have any comments on my lists, my choices, ADR, whatever, post it down below. I'll respond to you, especially if there's like asking a question or something. And yeah, thanks for watching. And now I got to get ready for GrotzCon that's coming up this next weekend, but we'll get to that later. So see you guys later, and bye.